Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Thanks for joining me in this new year of 2024. I am coming at you today with a vintage snowman card. So this video is really all about how I build that vintage look, and you can see that I'm using a variety of different products. They will all be listed and linked downstairs in the description box, but I also bring in a couple more as we go along. So I am using these dies. As you can see, these are the, I never get it right, basic stitched oval die set. And then I come in with the wonky stitched rectangle, and this is beginning my card panel. And you can see that I had a Nina Desert Storm card base there. I end up not using that, but we'll actually show that in a bit. So this cardstock, this pattern paper is from the Pink Plaids pattern paper set, and I start by adding some distress ink in the color tea dye just to kind of bring the tone of the neutral to the same as the cream of the base, if you will, the one that I did the die cutting on. And so here's where I bring in some extra pieces. So I have the heart border red rubber cling, the vintage script 6x6 background, and the grunge canvas 6x6 background. And this, again, it's just where we start adding layer upon layer upon layer. Now I am using inks that coordinate with that pattern paper, and you can see that as I touch my paper to the stamps, that I'm touching my paper to the stamps instead of the other way around. But I also am using a little bit of that water. You can see my little water bottle at the top right there. Now in this case, I am touching the stamp to the paper, but it's a much smaller stamp than the big backgrounds, and the image itself is much, I don't know the word to use, less detailed, I guess. It's just a heart shape over and over, and it's beautiful. But I have a little more control when I take the stamp to it. So the reason that I will use water sometimes when I'm using those more detailed stamps is it just gives a little bit more loose look, a watercolory look. It's kind of ethereal, and I'll do both. Sometimes I'll use the water, sometimes I won't. But again, here I'm using the colors that coordinate with the pattern paper. So I've got the tea dye. I've got, this is Worn Lipstick actually that I'm putting on now. And I also have Vintage Photo. Those are the three colors I'm working with today. And I am purposefully doing the uneven ink blending all around the edges. And I don't know, I just go with what pleases my eye, and I don't overthink. That's the key with this kind of thing, is don't overthink. Just flow with the moment. Make sure that as you add layers that you're leaving space for other layers. That's something that you really need to be cognizant of. And again, I'm using all three colors to do the ink blending with, to do the stamping with, and again, sometimes it's with the watercolor to get that watercolory ethereal look, and sometimes it's just with solid ink. Now these snowflake stamps are absolutely stunning. This is from the Snow Flurry clear stamp set, and they're absolutely stunning. And I believe that these snowflakes are really what took this to the next level. The hearts are beautiful, the script is beautiful, the grunge is beautiful. Every element is gorgeous in and of itself, but the snowflakes bring that ornateness that the whole background was lacking, at least in my opinion. And again, keep in mind, if you wanted to replicate something like this, that you can stop anywhere along the line. Again, I always say, go with what pleases your eye. Now for me, this last layer with the vintage script, because it's on top of everything else, you can really see it. For me, that topped it off. That was all that I needed. And I'm doing the same things to the background, to the plaid paper, as I am to the foreground, to that die cut layer, because you want that continuity. And as we move along, as I color this guy up, you'll see that when I'm done coloring, I add some of those layers to him as well, because again, continuity. Now you can do it to whatever degree. You can, when I say do it, I mean build the layers to whatever degree you want. You could stop very early in the process. You don't have to do the ink blending. You can do just the ink blending. I mean, truly follow your own creative sensibilities. This was just my process on this particular card. And I have done it differently on other cards. But I think, and it's just my opinion, but I think it turns out absolutely beautiful, and I love it. I love every single layer about it. Now here you can see that I'm using my Olos to color him up. I have it sped up really fast. I think it's ×4 if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not doing anything fancy. I never do. But I am just, as you can see, trying to add some stripes to his little scarf, trying to make it pink and brown. And to me, it gets a little bit muddy here along the way. But I bring in my Arteza, what are they called? Inkonic pens. They're like a micro pen. And they help to add a little bit of definition, if you will, to the different layers. Pardon me, I needed a drink. Yeah, but if there was anything that I would want to change on this card, it would be the scarf. I'm just not happy with it. But, you know, it is what it is. So here's where I bring in the Inkonics just to kind of define it a little bit more. Add some a little more bold colors, if you will. And then I just move on. I don't stress it. I don't focus on it too long. I definitely don't beat myself up. Grace, guys. Always show yourself grace. Creativity isn't perfection. You know, to me, it's about having fun. It's about creating, I don't know, a safe space where you can just be you and just do what pleases you in the moment. Well, I'll just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying. I say it all the time. Now, with the Olos, I'm using the same 3 neutral colors to add shadow and shading to him as I did on the hat and the scarf. And then I'm using my my 0 pen to kind of blend it all out. And then I bring some pink to the cheeks, and I bring some orange to the nose, and then I call the coloring done. So here's where I'm adding some of those same layering elements. So we're going to start with the hearts on his belly. And keep in mind that I'm going to be fussy cutting him out. So, you know, stamping outside the lines isn't a big deal. And here's where I'm using that grunge canvas. And now on this one I had done or inked it up and then sprayed it with water. So that's why it looks a little more blotchy. It just gives a really cool watercolory look. Now here with the vintage script, you can see that I did not add water to it because I want to see the actual script. I have no idea what it says. I've never taken the time or the effort to actually read it. But it's just a beautiful script. And I got it just where I wanted it. And now you can see that I got some of that script on his face. Again, that does not bother me. If it bothers you when you're doing this part of it, just be more mindful about where you're stamping and, you know, keep his face out of it if you don't like that part of it. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. So I did the fussy cutting. I'm coming in, excuse me, I'm just using the ink that's left on the brush. Most of it is tea dye at this point, and I think that's just enough. It gives it just enough distress to fit in with the rest, but he's still a little pale, so he stands out a little bit more. Now I'm just taking that same blender brush and just going around those edges, not making them completely dark, but just blending them in so that that stark white doesn't stand out so much. And there I have all my pieces layered up, and that's what it's going to look like. And here's where I'm deciding, did I really want to go with that Desert Storm, or do I like the chocolate brown? And of course I end up going with the chocolate brown. Now I bring in those snowflake stamps again, one of the smaller ones, just to add a little bit more of the ornateness or the delicate aspect of this whole process to the snowman himself. And then I use some double-sided foam tape And I just make sure that I layer it up properly, that the plaid is going in the right direction, that the script is going in the right direction, and then I adhere the top panel down to the plaid panel, and then that whole panel down to the card base. And I use some more double-sided foam tape on the snowman, and I center him in the middle of that oval. Oh my goodness, I am just loving it. Now, if you guys have questions about my process, please, by all means, drop them downstairs in the comments section. You know, I'm, to be honest, fairly new to this kind of vintagey style, but I love it. And I don't know, you know, our styles morph and change, and they do different things. And I've always been kind of a grungy, elegant girl, if you will, or elegant grunge, I don't know. Anyway, mixing a combination of elegance and grunge. And I think this is kind of a different take on that. Now you can see that I used my hot glue gun to add that little kind of a burlap lace element to the bottom, and a pink button. I started to say alabaster. I don't think it is alabaster. It's just a pink button, and then I put some like waxed cording through it. And then I added a bunch of sparkle blends to the whole thing. And you can see them just sparkling there. These are the ice sparkle blends. And I think it's absolutely adorable. You can see that I added the sentiment and that tiny little snowman just to add. Just to add. They're like embellishments, if you will, I guess. I don't know. The little snowman, I think he's really cute. And I did him up the same way, just not, his layers aren't as many and they're not as defined. But that is my card. That is my card. Keep in mind that we have hashtag snowmen of January going on. So this will be included in that. And again, it's snowmen, plural, of, not in, January. Hashtag snowmen of January. So guys, as I started to say, drop me any questions you have downstairs about my process to build this kind of vintage, grungy, elegant background for the card. For any card, it's basically the same process. But thank you so much for joining me. Again, everything is linked and listed downstairs in the description box. Like, subscribe, all those things. And until next time, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy, and I'm out. Mwah!